it's not a special sauce. It's hard work. Be a good person, and don't fuck people over.
Welcome to Hustleshare, the podcast that features the daily grinds of unique hustlers around the world to show not our differences, but that our hustles are very much alike. Now here's your host, Ronster Pyong.
Welcome to the second episode of the Hustleshare podcast. My name is Ronster, and welcome to the show. For those of you who are new to the show, Hustleshare is a podcast that wants to share the hustles of outstanding people in their own profession or their own business to remove the stigma that my hustle is better than your hustle. What we want to be able to show and do here in this podcast is that we can actually learn from each other's hustle, regardless of your position in life, regardless of your title, regardless of how much money you make, or regardless of your definition of success. In this episode, we will be featuring a very good friend of mine as well. Just like the first episode where we featured Magellan Fetalino, we're going to be sticking to the theme, which is tech and business, because that's what my immediate network. In this episode, we are going to be discussing a lot of things with the hustle of an entrepreneur. You didn't hear that wrong. Yes, I said entrepreneur. What is an entrepreneur? We'll be hearing that in this episode. And our entrepreneur in this episode, his name is Mr. Ibba Bernardo. He is the CEO of I Am Cardboard PH. He's also the CEO of Sari Software Solutions. Technically, I Am Cardboard PH is an end-to-end virtual reality solutions provider. The most recent and the most popular work they've done is that they've created a VR experience of the Philippines' most popular hero or national hero in Jose Rizal, where you get three perspectives of what it's like to be in his shoes, to be in the shoes of his shooter when he was executed, and what it felt like to be in the audience during that moment in time when Jose Rizal was executed. We're also going to be talking about how Ibba was able to hustle his way from being a video game geek or addict, he said, to create that into a 20-year career revolving around technology and all over geekiness. We're also going to be talking about how he was able to hustle his way to be part of 3 companies and still have other companies on the side, which are all profitable. This is going to be a very, very interesting and geeky conversation, and we're going to begin the episode right now. Okay, welcome to Hustle Share episode 2. We are with a very good friend of mine, Miss. What? Sorry.
What the hell, man?
Mr. Ibba Bernardo.
It's only your 3rd episode, so I'll let you go.
My bad. Yes. Sorry. Okay, Ibba, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. It's an honor to be number 3.
Yes. No, actually,
number 3
you're
on
number
your
2.
list.
Number 2. Number 3 in terms of episode, because first one was a monologue, which is totally weird because I'm so used to talking to people, but now you're high up on the list in terms of people that I really wanted to know. Ibba, again, you're very interesting because you're involved in so many things. And I actually I've known you for a while. I don't know what the main thing is and what the side thing is. It all looks main to me.
So first thing is, I'm Muslim.
Okay.
Right? And Muslim startup founders are very different from non-Muslim startup founders.
It's interesting.
You know why?
Why?
Because we can have 4 wives.
There you are.
So we're predisposed to being able to do
multitasking.
No, I'm just kidding.
Wow, that's
cool. So what drives me is that you probably don't know this, but and you don't know this reference, but you know Buck Rogers?
Nope.
No.
Sorry.
So, when I was
Crickets.
growing up,
Okay.
there were 4 TV stations,
Okay.
right? And everybody watched the same stuff. Like
Yep.
at 5 p.m., na 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 na, and
Batman,
after that,
right.
you'd have Wonder Woman, and
Yep.
Buck Rogers was also one of those things.
Okay.
This guy from the 80s, he's
Mm-hmm.
an astronaut, and he gets frozen in time. Like he gets like
Captain
it's
America.
like Futurama.
Futurama. Okay.
Right? So I grew up in a time where I was the remote control. I grew up in a time wherein TV was furniture. Like they were made out of wood. They
Yes,
were
yes.
massive.
Big chunk of whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we had freaking silent movies, homemade silent movies, right? Like 8mm cameras. It took months before you would see the footage because you'd have to send it somewhere to get
Yeah,
developed.
have developed. Right.
So that's where I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I am.
It's classic Atari days. Like
Yeah. I am 42 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And every freaking day I wake up like I'm Buck Rogers or like I'm Fry from Futurama.
Yeah.
Right? Like, oh my God, I'm living in the future I imagined.
Yes.
So that for me is why I am just constantly blown away and like I'm in a time capsule and now I'm talking to my house.
Yeah.
Right? Now I have VR. I'm creating realities. Now I am bringing a freaking like computer that's more powerful than the computer that launched the Apollo rocket in my pocket.
Holy
right?
shit. Yeah.
So everything I'm easily amused because I am from the past.
True. And that's what that's why I wanted you here this early. Because you're genuinely curious and you always seem to you're always to be ahead of the game. Like you're talking about stuff that what the hell is he talking about again? And then 5 years down or 3 years down the road, like, oh, I heard that from you. That is crazy.
It's difficult to be a dreamer and be a time traveler.
Right.
I think I'm a time traveler.
You're Marty McFly in the flesh.
Yeah. It's difficult because it's all about the timing.
Yes. True.
Right?
Timing
you
is
know
everything.
that.
Yes.
No matter how hard you hustle, no matter how great your concept, your platform is, if your timing isn't right, you're going to lose.
And I've seen, you're absolutely correct. I've seen startups here in the Philippines that they had this it's the same shit. It's just that they were too early in the game. Perfect example, a good friend of ours, Michael Ngondi.
Yeah.
Tripid, right? He started what Uber and Grab and Angkas are doing now. But he was just too early in the game. There's too many obstacles that he had to overcome. And he became the sacrificial lamb.
Though that's debatable, right? I mean, Mike is awesome, and that guy can hustle.
True.
But, man, he didn't have deep pockets.
True, because again, it was too early in the game too. Nobody wanted to throw money because...
Yeah, you're right. It's timing also. But, I mean, if you're going to look at the guys you mentioned, these guys are like multinational, right? They've got a gajillion dollars funding them, and they have long-term vision.
Yeah.
Startup guys like us, with the funding pool available in our country, you gotta be self-sustaining after a few years.
True. And that they say that the average year is if you make it past year 3, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah. So you gotta have that revenue rhythm.
Yeah.
Because our investors aren't as they're not as big on risk as other investors.
No, but imagine if Mike was around at say a couple of years ago instead of 3, 4, or 5 years ago. He would have had the same resources. I've seen startups. I think in our very first episode, Magellan, he's raised X amount, millions of dollars in the Philippines.
I think you're right. I think if like after, but this is all 2020, right? And poor Mike. I mean, he's doing well, but if he had come in, or he was at a certain scale, not massive scale,
right?
When Uber and Grab were having their competition, he could probably have.
He could have been the dark horse. That stole the show.
Yep.
And I wouldn't be surprised if he got acquired by any of those dudes too.
Yeah. True. I think so. What were we talking about? Was the question? Time traveling.
Yeah.
I just love living in this era of just mind-blowing innovation, and you dream it and it can happen.
What was your first foray into creating? Because basically you would describe yourself as a creator by default.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
What was your first foray into creating something? I mean,
when I was in kindergarten.
Holy God! No, not far off. What I meant was like into a company, and you saw that. All right, this is something I want to do for a living. What did you go into a job that allowed to learn that first, or did you really create a company first and then you rolled from there?
I'm trying to work out the chronology in my head.
Okay.
So I started out. So I love video games.
Yes, everybody does.
Yeah. So I would be playing with my PlayStation 1. I mean, I missed like freaking exams because of that PlayStation 1.
Yes.
Right? I know some people who were sent to rehab.
Yep.
Because of the
Bandersnatch-ish. Right.
A friend of mine was like, his parents were in the province.
Right.
And his parents were calling all of his classmates, his friends. Have you seen blank? Yeah. And let's just call him Joe. Have you seen Joe? And then, and people started looking for him. And obviously he was playing in like the arcade, right? Mm. But he hadn't gone home. And so his parents brought him home, put him into rehab with a whole bunch of addicts. Hey. And he was like, I'm not an addict. But the first step is you have to admit you're like a drug addict, right? Help. Yeah. So finally he said, all right, I'm a drug addict. And he started like asking me just so that he could get out of it. But anyway, from those round TVs, 4 TV stations, and being able to interact with TV, that kind of blew my mind, right? So I started playing around with old programming, logo. This is old school stuff, right?
So you code by default as well?
I mean, not well, right? Yeah. Enough to get like what? Are you a professional podcaster?
Nah.
But you're doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like enough to understand the technology, enough to make something that looks really crappy. Yeah. And then have somebody like help me out and make it better. Like but the idea is there.
Like an MVP, a minimum viable product for those people.
Exactly.
So startup people, we always do that. We're using this playbook called the Lean Startup Methodology. That you don't have to create a wonderful, palace. You just need to create a prototype that's usable enough for people to actually use it or throw money at it.
Yep. So video games. Okay, going back. All right, let's tie this up. So I would play video games all the time.
Okay.
And my mom would always get pissed. It's like, what are you doing? We're always playing those video games. But it was like mind-blowing, right? All the way up. So I joined the debate society in
debate.
College. Yeah.
From video games to debates.
Because my parents are both debaters.
Okay. It's in the blood, per se.
Yeah, I know, but that's the only way you can kind of assert yourself in the family if you have logical arguments and you have the Australasian method of
you don't discourse. Do ad nauseum all these fallacies in between. Okay,
so I told my mom I got a job writing about video games. So
wow.
I started writing.
How do you even find that here in the Philippines where that industry did not exist? That's a hustle in itself.
Yeah. How did one of my good friends was like one of the people who brought in PC Mag.
PC Mag.
That's old school, right?
Wow.
And then he moved to Summit and he was editor for Games Master.
Wow.
And we were living the life, man.
Yeah.
So I was writing for them, going home playing video games. I did the first Ragnarok guidebook. We did like
Level Up Ragnarok.
Yeah. Pouring. So I was like bossing around game masters, and make me this rare item, because in a test server, we're having the time of our lives, man. And that gave me access to people like Ron Schaffner, who created Warcraft. Diablo.
Holy shit!
We flew. I was the only one with a U.S. visa.
Yeah.
So I was able to fly to E3 and interact with all these great people. So we got into the video game industry. We started working on animation. We worked on a whole bunch of AAA titles. I'm not sure, there are a lot of NDAs, but we've worked on hundreds of games.
Wow. And
we grew from a small company in my parents' attic.
Not a garage, an attic. You're at the top.
Yeah, okay. In the Philippines, walang garage. There's no garages. You have storage space on top, right?
Or an extra room somewhere.
Yeah. So the whole deal, old computers, the casing off, electric fans blowing into them.
Yeah.
Mixed
dial up.
Yep, mixed match of your parents' old furniture. And we grew that to around 40 seats.
40 people doing games in an industry that did not even exist. What year was this, if you don't mind me asking?
That was...
early 2000s?
Yeah.
There's no industry. There's no GDAP here yet.
I think GDAP was pretty new. So then we started working with... We realized that we couldn't be mom and pop anymore.
Yeah, you have to have structure somewhere.
I was going to the bank on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And withdrawing cash.
Boatloads of it.
Yeah, and putting it in my backpack, and then driving back to the office, and
what is this guy doing? What is his business?
It reached the point where the Department of Homeland Security flagged our account because my name is Ibrahim. I'm getting all this money.
Wow.
So we were clueless.
Yeah.
So we said, all right, we got to start becoming a bit more professional. So we got some investors. We moved to an office in Makati. And now, when my mom sees me playing, my mom is still my mom. No matter how old you are, your mom,
of course.
she sees you playing video games.
You're still a baby boy in their eyes.
Well, he's working. So that's the first thing I created. That's how I started creating. Yeah, and that's where I started.
This is a great conversation, but let's take a quick break. After we come back, we'll discuss how Ibba went from creating video games to creating his hustle now. Back after the break. Hey, do you guys like what you're hearing so far? If you do, please don't forget to show us some love and subscribe to Hustleshare on your favorite podcast app. You can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, and all the other major podcast apps. Also, if you want to get in touch with us and suggest the next hustlers you want to hear in the show, please do message us on our chatbot on Messenger. Just search Hustleshare or go to m.me/Hustleshare, powered by ChatbotPH. And lastly, if you want to know more about the details and resources we discussed during each episode, please go to our show notes at hustleshare.com. Cool? All right, back to the show. And we're back from the break. We're still with Ibba Bernardo. Ibba.
What up?
Okay. Ibba. Okay, so you mentioned before the break that, again, you're a creator by default. You did video games. And now I'm very curious because when I met you, you were doing Sari, right? And it's I'm trying to make sense of it. And how did you come from video games to Sari? And what was the motivation behind that?
Actually, that's exactly like a chapter and a half after the video games.
Okay.
So financial crisis hits.
Okay.
The local market is getting stronger. Mm-hmm. We make a decision in the company to start creating products that support BPOs, KPOs.
Okay.
And at that time, I was a little burned out.
Okay.
So I started doing things on the side. A friend of mine invited me to join an organization called the Manila JCs.
JCI.
Yeah, JCs.
Which chapter?
Manila.
Manila. I heard that's the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah. So
Like,
I'm not the suit wearing fancy spancy kind of guy. I'm a huge guy who rides a scooter every day.
not just a scooter, by the way. It's a Vespa.
It's a beat up Apocalypse Vespa.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a good fit, but the guy who invited me, I couldn't say no to, right?
Yeah.
Like this guy had supported me, my geek vices, and I've known him since I was in high school.
Yep.
And he's been just like almost a mentor to me. I don't know if you know Charles Powell. Really humble, quiet guy, but he set up Digital Walker, Beyond the Box.
Oh my God.
He's got this awesome story. He had a small little changge in Green Hills, like a
Then it
little
grew, and then
little kiosk in one of the hallways, and I won't tell you what I used to buy from him, but why didn't you go to Green Hills in that
Green
era?
Hills is the shit. Till now, Vera Mall. If you look at that, it's the best toy
It's
stores
fancy
are there.
now.
Yeah.
Right? But so I would buy stuff from him, and he just went all in. And now I think he's going to hit 100 stores this year.
Yeah, and I think his office is the one in Cubao.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been to his office. I tried to sell him a chatbot before.
Yeah. So Charlie and Howard, and even their sister and their mom, it was all like, so I couldn't say no to him.
Okay.
And he brought in his brother Howard into JC.
Okay.
So we go and then to become a JC member, you have to do a baby JC project.
A baby JC. So, okay, this is a hustle because I've known about JCs, but I have no idea what JCs actually do. So, a baby JC project is like your initiation?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like, well, we can go into actually, this is another topic, like organizations, network building, how to hustle. But so I didn't go in there for that purpose. I went there because I couldn't say no to Howard. And
you're forced to it, sort of.
Yeah. And I go to first meeting, and they're all in suits, and they get angry at me because I'm in jeans, and you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh man, this thing sucks. There's like a leadership exam and all this weird stuff. But when you cut through all of the processes and things that I wasn't too into, to become a JC member, you have to do an outreach project.
That's why they're always out there doing that.
That is core. The JCs helped rebuild the Philippines after World War II.
Wow.
That was, these were young entrepreneurs who were rebuilding a country. That's the core.
And they just carried it on as a tradition from one generation to another.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay, so we go to Smoky Mountain because there's a target area that they saturate.
Okay.
And I'm there, and we're looking, and we're kind of doing an ocular, trying to figure out what it is that we're gonna do, and the things that you're assigned a group.
Yeah.
And my group was with Charlie's brother.
Yeah.
And the ideas were like, we can do like a nutritional thing for mothers.
Right.
We can do medical dental, we can do something like that, and I was like, So it just seemed kind of, if I was a doctor, I'd be into it. If I was a lawyer, I would give like free medical.
You're a video game geek.
So I gravitate to this small, like 10 peso an hour, no aircon, piso driven cyber cafe, right? And I see these kids, and they're scavengers.
Yeah.
And they're playing, like, was it Dota?
Counter.
Or Counter or something like that. And I'm just so interested in these kids because I'm a geek. I'm a gamer.
You gravitate towards your tribe.
Yeah. So this is my tribe, but a different demographic of it.
Correct.
And I get home and I keep on thinking, like, what? Like, I'm so curious. As to what these kids do, because you live on Smoky Mountain, 8 stories of garbage.
Yeah.
And you know how to use a computer. You're playing video games, and I'm thinking there must be something there, right? There must be potential there. So we come back and I pitch this idea, and when I have an idea, I get really psyched about it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I pitch the idea. We teach these kids how to blog about their lives. I think this is about almost 10 years ago, 2009.
Wow.
Probably.
Vlogging.
Vlog, video, photos.
Vlogging did not exist during that time. Again, this is like you're doing a time travel thing and you're way ahead of the game.
So we've got a lot of geek friends. We work with a foundation there, and we get these third generation scavengers that are scholars, smart kids.
Wow.
And every week we bring in web developers like Bing,
right,
10,000 Minds. And he taught them like SEO. And then
these are real hard skills that, dude, if you learn that, even the basics of it, you can actually survive and have a proper job.
We brought in award-winning cinematographers to help them shoot.
Wow.
The videos, we got sponsors from Olympus and Nikon, thanks to Howard and Charlie.
Wow. So this idea of you became sort of like a mission now, like a vocation.
Yeah.
Like, that was the turning point, like boom.
So it was geeky, it was technology, it was creating.
Right.
But it was impacting other people. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of got what I was doing with video games, but it added to it. It added another layer. So after that, I started so that was successful. It won awards. These kids, they created some great content. One was a food blog of I got Vince Galanco. Went in Manila. Yes. He went there and he taught the kids how to go blog and gave them tips.
Yeah.
It was every week.
Wow.
Wherein these kids would come in and learn something new.
And what are those kids now? Just curious,
Well, a lot of them, I think majority went to college. They're friends on Facebook.
That's amazing.
One has a K-pop blog. Another has a...
Wow.
But another had a food blog of good eats in Smoky Mountain.
Yeah.
One was blogging about high fashion.
Wow.
And then a couple are working with Gawad Kalinga now. So
paying it forward.
And also... Well, not paying it forward. They should be. I mean, they deserve. They deserve it. The buck should stop at them. But
true.
Yeah. So they're all of a sudden, because of that exposure. Well, I'm not going to take credit for it. Actually, these kids hustle, right? Yeah. They're the epitome of it. But I hope that I was able to spark their imagination.
We gave them an opportunity.
Exposure and connections, and the people they'd meet that they wouldn't have usually met.
True. And that's sometimes what we all need.
Yeah.
Someone to actually plant that seed within us that you can actually be someone that you don't know you can be.
Yep. Exactly.
I had a guy. Is that Howard or Charlie for you to who sparked that seed to open up more doors, or is there someone else?
Well, I mean, they're one of it. I just love. I fall in love easily.
Okay. You have room for 4 wives, so that should be.
I have no safety net. No. It was that's kind of where the fusion happened, and then I joined I was asked. I started teaching in Bilibid in prison, and this is stuff I would do on my weekends. Right. Finally, I got invited by Jim Ayala. He had left Ayala Land and he had set up something called the Solar Energy Foundation. And this was the pivot in my life. Right? He asked me if I could drive around the country on a motorcycle and visit off-grid communities, 6,600 kilometers over 19 days.
On a big bike.
Yeah, visiting the most remote areas like Agusan Marsh, floating schools, Zamboanga Sibugay, Apari, all over the place. It's
through
wonderful.
Land, rural,
land, motorcycle, pump boat, any means. And actually, so I did that, and you're spending hours by yourself, on the road just thinking. And every remote community we would visit, there was a sari-sari store. And once you and even the remotest island would have not connectivity, but they would have signal. So what they would do is, like, everybody in that community, they would get their cell phones every day, give it to one guy who would, like, get on a boat or take on his little boat to the mainland and have their cell phones charged, and then come back with the boat, and then they would have their phones, right? And they would pay like 50 pesos or something to charge. But these are Nokia phones, like not Nokia, like feature phones, so the battery life was a lot longer.
Yeah, and they're indestructible.
Yeah, so they would be shuttling that, and the minute we gave them these German technology solar panels and like these gel batteries and lights, they now can charge your phones at home.
Wow, that's a big thing.
So now that you've got power, what next? And that the whole trip, I was saying, what next? What next? What next? That was about the same time like we got my dad an iPad, right? And my dad can't use a computer for shit. Okay. Like he's the kind of guy who would like ask his secretary to print emails.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then like
there's still some dudes that I know that still do that.
So when we got him an iPad, all of a sudden he's a digital native, right? He's a millennial. He's tagging pictures, he's taking selfies, he's sending me TED Talks. He is the user interface of the iPad compared to a computer is like leaps and bounds ahead.
True.
It's so natural.
Correct.
So those thoughts were kind of bouncing around in my head 6,600 kilometers later.
That's a lot of thinking that you're going to do.
And all the places we meet up with these local like guides and community leaders, they're all always a sari-sari store. So the most sustainable-ish business in those remote communities is that sari-sari store.
That's the entry point.
That's the entry point. That's the tambayan. That's the news center. That's
the chismis center as
well.
The
chismis center. That is the nightlife.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Everything is that small store. So when I get done, I'm thinking, what next?
Okay.
On the flip side, I'm gone 16 days. My partners realize, you know what? You're not that important anymore. Not in a bad way. Like I had kind of been looking for something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we'd grown the video game company.
Yeah.
And it was pretty steady, and I was no longer into video games anymore because you get tired of, like, if you're a chef, smelling the same food every day.
I know exactly how it feels. So going back to my experience, party file.
Clubbing.
Party file. Everybody thought like, oh, Ron, you're going to have a party again. I was done after 2 years. I go there because it's work. It's because I need to do this. But in reality, if I go to the club before just to hustle, I'm literally at the corner just smoking a cigarette. Yep. And 9 times out of 10, I'm usually wearing black, and I'm pretty buff as well. People think I'm a fucking bouncer. It's like, Kuya, where's the cigarette? Like, I don't know. Figure it out. I'm not a bouncer, bro.
So I was just looking for something. And at that was about 2012, maybe? No, 2010, around that time.
Start of this decade.
Yeah.
And that's also the time where mobile became big. It was starting to become the thing.
Yep. So I met some people, some great guys who supported the journey. I knew I didn't want to do a foundation, right? Okay. Because it's difficult to keep on asking people for money, right? Sure. Even if it's a great cause, like with the Buhay Ko thing, those were one-off, but that was the Smoky Mountain.
Yeah.
But like every time you call someone up, asking them, hey, I'm helping these people out.
Yeah.
You know that they're gonna at some point they'll be like, hey, I know Ibba, but how many people are you going to help out, right?
Yeah.
So I needed a way to make it sustainable.
Okay.
I knew it had to be a business.
Of course.
Someone's
got to pay the bills. And it's not going to be a cause where you're always going to be thinking like, hey, I need money. I need to keep doing this.
So that's kind of where the idea of Sari started.
Okay.
And some of the people who supported the Right for Light asked me what I did. And I told them what my history was, tech journalist, blah blah blah. But my passion was kind of doing these things, helping people out. But I was kind of bummed that they were one-offs.
You wanted sustainability and longevity with it.
So one of them, this guy named Jun C.
Okay.
This is luck, complete luck. His company, they touch like 500,000 Sari stores.
Wow.
And he's at that point where, we want to strengthen these stores. We want to make them better. If you have any ideas.
And you're walking around with this big idea in your head that you wanted to do.
And a week later, I give him a call, and I'm like, hey, you free for a chat? I swing by, and I tell him my idea, and he goes, let's do it. So he's...
Boom. Yeah. Wow. And now from that point to where you guys are now, just rough numbers is basically how many Sari stores are you guys enabling with your technology, and how's Sari doing so far?
That's a difficult question because actually let's go to how Sari doing so far. Last mile is the most difficult.
Of course.
So bringing something to a Sari store required a lot of things. Partnerships with telco to provide cheaper or free connectivity for the app. Partnerships with hardware manufacturer, like we partnered with Intel to deploy these things. And so they gave us a lot of support when it came to the handsets, but they pulled out of the mobile market because they had to pivot. Yeah. So there were a lot of things involved, as well as having a fleet of guys on motorcycles.
Yeah.
Going out there and bringing the stores to Nanay. So that's if we did it on our own. On our own, we got a couple thousand.
Wow.
That's just our deployment. But it reached the point wherein I was just managing motorcycle guys and loans because you're not gonna...
Yeah.
Yeah. And just looking at spreadsheets. So we thought this model works, but we were unhappy because we weren't creating. We were
managing.
Yeah, logistics and distribution.
Redundant and whatnot. Okay.
So now we have these big companies asking us, "Hey, you created these software solutions that someone who's never used a computer, a 65-year-old nanay." In a remote community can figure out how to use. We've got these kinds of people. They are delivery men. They are riders on motorcycles. Can you make something for them? Now you got to remember this is like 2012, right? This is before. This
is pre-Angkas. This is pre-Lalamu,
Lazada.
Which is right now it's normal.
Yeah. So talking about timing, this is all about the timing, right? So we go there and we start making apps for these big companies. And I spend most of my time in BGC. Again, I'm not comfortable in these suits and these environments. But basically we've set up shop in BGC. And we're deploying with multinationals and we're deploying with telcos. And that also makes us unhappy. Because our objective was digital literacy, financial literacy.
And it's not in line to that core.
And the team, I've got a brilliant team.
Yeah.
And they've all invested time to help these micro entrepreneurs. But now they're spending a lot of time creating solutions for people who can afford it.
Yeah.
So we pivot, right? We created.
Yeah.
We realize we pivot not only for financial reasons,
Right.
but more for like, why am I here reasons.
That's deep, and a lot of startups go through that.
Yeah.
Because eventually, through slogging through work, you just realize you hit a wall, and no matter how much you push, you're actually just digging deeper through your own grave.
Yeah. Right? And our success, if your success metric is helping out micro entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
and that is like you're onboarding 2 or 3 a month, but you're onboarding 500 bigger stores, but that's not your success metric, right? I mean,
No.
It's like you live in the Philippines and you're getting paid in like Martian money.
Yeah.
Right? You get $1 billion, whatever Martian money it is.
That's not worth shit.
Yeah. It's worth it if you're in Mars.
Yeah.
So what we decide to do is we spin off the revenue generating, the stuff other startups would want to another company, and we get investors for that. Who have a sales team and they're out there selling it. Globe is selling our solutions as my shopkeeper. It doesn't. So we productize everything that we can productize that we had developed.
So it also pays the bills. I mean, someone's got to pay the bills.
Yeah. But I don't mind taking a lot less if I don't have to go to those meetings.
Got it.
You know what I mean?
Who's doing that now, though? I mean, someone's got to do that.
Yeah,
right?
so we've got, part of the team, when I say team, it's really just one person, because it's all productized already, is managing that. But then we're integrated into a bigger company, who is in the middle of being integrated into another bigger company. So I'm not sure, but they're like regional distributors of software.
Right.
So they wanted their own software. Like they were tired of selling other people's software. So it was a good fit, and they were tired of doing enterprise
level, which takes forever.
And they wanted to go in and sell something that they could
like
call
a
their
SaaS.
own. Yes, but their own system.
Got it.
So it was great synergy. So yeah, if you have a little bake shop and you want a solution, go to Globe, get my shopkeeper.
There you go.
You can get it with a plan. And
what you made for the Sari Sari store, but basically full suite now.
Yep.
You can install that into.
So and then the third thing it gave, the other IP we had created.
Yeah.
We were working with partners like Happinoi.
Yes, shout out Mark.
Yeah.
Which technically you're in the same realm, just solving a different problem.
Yeah, doing what we love, which is creating solutions, right? Not the managing, deployment, and logistics. And we're also working with other groups that are creating great solutions for these Sari Sari stores, but we don't mind our brand not being there.
Yes.
So like they'll use the POS element of software we had created.
Imagine a Sari Sari store having a POS.
Yeah.
How fucking cool is that?
So when you ask how many have we deployed to?
Yeah.
Maybe under 10,000, but that data doesn't matter.
10,000 though.
Yeah, but that data doesn't matter because I don't get granular information. I can't connect with them. It's our software that is.
True, but that impact of equipping them rather than zero and having like a ledger that your nanay would fucking use, it's already a big step towards helping them out.
10,000, but they're not all nanays.
Okay, there's dudes, tatais.
No, but they're not. I mean, they're being used by like SMEs, right? So I've got another company that we started that makes SME solutions.
There you go.
So that is my other route going back to Nanay. So we're looking at stores that are one step higher, no, two steps higher. And they're the ones that feed the micro entrepreneurs.
Wow.
And we're doing, so talking about timing, it's all about the timing. When we started, the cheapest mobile phone.
Yeah.
And the specs were kind of
shit.
Yeah. Or kind of crappy.
Sorry for lack of better terms.
Was like 15,000 pesos.
Yeah.
That's the cheapest, right?
That's still a lot of money though.
Back then.
Yeah.
Now, technology has improved so much.
Yeah.
The cost of these great devices are ridiculous. One of the best phones out there now is the Xiaomi Poco phone.
Yeah, the Poco phone. They call it the feature phone killer.
Dude, it's got a Snapdragon 845 SoC, which is the same as the S9, the Pixel 3, and it's selling for 16,000 pesos.
Are you kidding me? I have an S8. So you mean that is more powerful than my current phone? Which is like
and the camera has won like this million vote tweet competition, Instagram competition by Marquez, that vlogger.
Yeah.
So I think it came in second. It kicked the asses of the iPhones, the Pixels, and whatnot. Yeah. That's one of the best phones around. Yeah. So it's all about the timing. So now our solutions we've deployed to we're deploying GPS solutions. Yeah. We're deploying solutions for Atetes who touches 1,000 sari stores, but needs. But I'm not I'm just more strategic now. I'm a founder, but I'm not day to day.
Okay. And what I want to know, and then after the break is, you're doing so many things. And I want to know is how you manage to do so many things. What type of partners you want to do work with, and how you really pick and choose what you want to do. More of that after the break.
Effective automation is the best way for businesses to stay competitive. And having a chatbot for your business lets you easily automate and optimize sales, marketing, and customer service in the digital age. Chatbot PH will build, train, maintain, and market your chatbot across all messaging platforms. Our team uses the latest AI technologies to enable you to better serve customers 24/7, 365. Set a meeting with us today. Message us now at m.me/chatbotph.
Welcome back. We are in the last part of the show. In this portion, we're going to do a deep dive time of how Ibba manages to be in so many things, and he still gets to do things. So, Ibba, just curious. So now, you're mainly, by the way, congratulations.
Thank
you're
you.
Now into virtual reality. Again, future shit, dude. How, you just want an anvil and a boomerang.
2 anvils.
2 anvils,
Excuse
too.
me.
One for you and one for Marco. Just to put things into perspective, anvils are like the Oscars of creative or ad agencies here in the Philippines, right? Agencies go through so much shit just to get to one of those. And this guy won 2. 2, not 1, but 2. Take me, Ibba, to how you went from Sari to now doing virtual reality, I Am Cardboard, and to all the hustles that you're doing. Just let's start with that, I guess. How many things are you doing actively? What's your main hustle and what are your side hustles? Because that's something we need to define.
Okay.
What gets a lot of your time and what are the things you do passively?
Now it's a lot simpler. Okay. Now it is 80% of my time is focused on virtual reality.
VR.
Immersive
You are Ready Player One in the flesh.
But it was totally different 2 years ago. I would say 20% of my time was VR because 2 years ago, it was my passion project.
Okay.
2 years ago was when we did the joint venture. We had productized everything.
Okay.
And I woke up and I wasn't freaking out about salaries. I wasn't freaking out about rent. I had way too much time.
Wow.
Yeah. So 2 years ago, I set up a motorcycle dealership because the Ayala Group had just partnered up with KTM, and I was like, I want to be part of this. They're making these beautiful motorcycles in the Philippines.
Yeah.
I believe in it.
It's made here. It's creating local jobs.
Yep. And I was like, how can I be a part of this? So set up a dealership. We're on our second year. This year.
How many? I've seen a couple of them in the south.
Yeah. So we're in Sukat. It's called Biker Box. We're KTM Parañaque.
God, okay. I've seen one of them. Yeah.
And they're affordable. You can get a KTM, this Austrian motorcycle, for 150 something thousand or 160,000 pesos.
I mean, you don't have to pay that in cash. You can get like
I would rather you pay an installment because we make more money that way.
There you go. Economies of scale.
Yep. Because you don't make more money on the bike.
True. People hate that. Even in car dealerships,
the margins are too small.
Cash. Nope, I don't want you.
Nope.
There's no interest in there. Yeah.
All right. So I said yes to that. My good friend and a really great guy, Jay Taruk. He's a Peabody Award-winning journalist.
Yep.
It was the first time he set up something on his own.
Yes.
We moved from Motorcycle Diaries, and during the whole, I was helping out. I was consulting with Motorcycle Diaries, telling some stories with them. So he set up something called Ride PH.
Ride PH.
Because the Philippines has has the fastest growing motorcycle market in the region.
Really? Beyond the Vietnams and...
They have plateaued. We're growing 40%, or like almost 40% year on year.
Wow.
I'll give you an example. Like in some ridiculous stats, and I'm making it up, but you'll get the gist.
Yeah.
Like in Indonesia, like there is one motorcycle for every two Indonesians. In the Philippines,
ratio.
There's like 1:20. So there's a lot of room to grow.
And you can see it now, the impact of how motorcycles are. I've tried Angkas myself. It's a lifesaver.
Woo! Angkas rocks, man. I mean, price, efficiency.
It just gets it done. You get there faster.
Gets it done.
But it scared the living fuck out of me. The first time, it was like, I was trembling. I've never gone fucking piggybacking on someone. But, dude, after that...
Better than a cup of coffee in the morning.
Absolutely. It scares the living fuck out of you, but it gets it done. I did it like 5 times now.
Yeah.
And every single time, it bailed me out of going super late in a meeting. You're a little mucky after.
Yeah.
But hey, you made it.
So it's empowering people.
Yeah.
It is a source of livelihood. It is giving people opportunities. I love and it saves time. It takes up less space on the roads.
Yeah.
There's so many great things about motorcycles. That's what Ride PH is about. It's about motorcycle
empowerment,
empowerment, lifestyle, and like just education.
Okay.
So
that's important.
Yeah, it's really important.
Because I've seen a stat that only like 2% of motorcycle that they went. There's just this test that people failed, like grand majority failed. So it's a step towards that.
If you fail, I mean, it's probably the same thing with cars, right?
Yeah.
The scary thing is if you fail with a car, you're bound to hurt someone.
True.
But if you fail in a motorcycle, you're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah, and that's your life on the line.
Yeah. So it's really important to educate people. So Ride PH, Otterbox, it's about timing. We got into that right at the end of like the Nokia era. And me and my partners, one of my partners is like, he's like a black belt. Another one does triathlons. And I like riding motorcycles. And there was nothing in the market that supported our lifestyles, right?
Yeah.
Urban Rugged Gear, the name of the brand that we set up, Urge.ph. And we just really bought stuff that we liked. And we've got a lot of other partners. And we started out with $10,000. No, it's not. Maybe like about 300,000 pesos.
Dude, you guys are everywhere.
Yeah, and that was about 8 years ago, 9 years ago. We had no idea what we were doing. We were the first in the world to open up a kiosk.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, why are we opening up a kiosk to sell cases? That's ridiculous. Dude, we're wasting money.
Yeah.
Let's just go distribute stuff. That kiosk made more money than all of the doors we were selling to. And it was cash on hand. Yep,
you got it. The brand recall is there.
Yep, you got it.
So OtterBox right there.
We were, I'm not sure if we still are, but like we were number one in the region for a long while.
I agree with that because the Philippines is mobile whatever capital of the world.
Yeah, and it's a great product, strong, clear value proposition,
and quality.
Yeah, warranty support, the works. We're now in like 100+ doors. We bring in Bang & Olufsen also now.
Wow.
So we've got some stores there. I cannot take any credit for the success because I'm a board member.
Yeah.
I help out here and there. It's really my partners, and going back to good partners, these guys.
Yeah, so that's what I want to know. You always have to seem that knack to be in the right place at the right time, or be ahead of the curve, and then it's gonna get to that direction.
It sucks being ahead of the curve, though.
Correct, but because there's growing pains all the time. There's a learning curve. There's growing pains, but eventually it pans out. When people don't even get to that point, sometimes. How do you find the right partners, and where do you even? That's a hustle in itself. How did you network? You said earlier about the JCI thing, but that's a talent, bro. Like it's not easy to be surrounded with the right people. First of all, that's going to be willing to work with you and take a chance. Heck, even just do something that's going to be meaningful. Because some people, even if you look at their most immediate network, they're surrounded with redundancy. Like, for example, if you're in a medical family, you're surrounded with, my tito is a nurse, my tita is a nurse, my mama is a nurse, But how did you build that? That's amazing.
That's a good question. And the cop-out question would be, I'm just lucky and blessed. Right?
Hashtag blessed.
Yeah, hashtag blessed. But the reality is, you can get a lot done by being a nice guy. You can just don't be a dick, man. You do your job. You do your over and above. Don't disappoint.
Yeah.
Be honest. Have integrity. Don't fuck people over, right? And people will want to work with you. It's not like it's not like a golden it's not a special sauce. It's hard work. Be a good person, and don't fuck people over.
True, and I remember because sometimes we get to and we're like, okay, I'm gonna make a little bit of money on the side on this one. It becomes more of what's in it for me first, rather than let's help you out. And I remember the first time I met you, I was doing guestlist.ph. It's just a website. Kickstart told me that, hey, you want to do an app, right? Talk to this guy. And I talked to you in one of what raid the fridges out there. And it didn't seem like a dick. And some people are like, who are you? Fuck you, you're an idiot. Some people give that notion. Now I get it. Now, if you're like that towards me, I was a very young guy. My impression was probably, partying all the time and whatnot. And if you're like that, then it would just open up a lot of doors and you leave a right impression to them, and then people want to work with you.
I'm not quick to make assumptions.
Yes.
Right? I'm always curious. I'm always curious about how executives live their lives, what they do, what are their hacks, like what you're doing, right? We spent a lot of time of you showing me what you're doing because I'm naturally like, wow, this is so cool. And I'm curious about your adventure in life, which was a really, difficult arduous climb to where you are now, and I'm impressed. I am impressed by people's merits and achievements and skills, be it like Charlie Pao, or Ronster, or even that third generation scavenger in Smoky Mountain who's now working in GK. These all blow me away, right? A nanay who's successful in growing her business blows me away. And I think I can learn from sari stores. Obviously, I think I can teach them more because my exposure and being #blessed allows me to teach and share. But everybody has value. I really believe in that.
So guys, again, take note of this, because sometimes before you even throw or close the door, you just gotta give that person a chance, and don't be quick to judge, because you'll never know what's in front of you. And actually lend an ear, lend a hand, and then
it cost me nothing to be a nice person.
There you are.
Right?
God bless you, Ibba.
I mean, I hope I'm a nice person. I'm a bit of a slob. I'm
no, but this
a little
hustle
tactless.
is, and then look at you. Like, you're doing so many things at the same time. Which again, let's go back to that topic. How do you manage to get by? So you're doing VR, right? Which is totally awesome. I've seen your work in Ayala Museum. A little tidbit: my mom. I told you about this. My mom worked for Ayala Foundation for 17 years. All of those people are my titos and titas. I know them by default. So it's like, it goes coast for circle. My playground before was the museum, the old G museum. I will run around those dioramas and whatnot.
I love that, the old museum.
Yeah, and to see your work in retelling Philippine history and immerse yourself. I got goosebumps putting on those VR headsets, seeing Rizal being killed or being in the foot of Rizal and whatnot. That was crazy. By the way, you guys can check this out. Ibba, just curious, so for those people that want to check it out, is it still available in the Yale Museum?
It's there forever.
There you go.
As long as those VR headsets hold up. So we're swapping them out constantly because there's a ton of... I never expected that many people to be using that VR headset. So we're just like constantly updating the software, the user experience.
Yeah.
We keep on making it better and better and better.
Wow. So again, going back to that, Ibba, how do you manage your time? How you're now doing primarily VR, but what's your hack like to be on top of everything and still make sure that you're in the right direction majority of the time? So of course, having the right partners is a big factor in there. But how do you still get involved?
My thinking has always been two things. One, you gotta like the people you work with.
True.
Right? You gotta trust them. They gotta be like, culture is very, very important.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with people that you like, people who have the same mores and values as you do, then it attracts more like-minded people. Reputation is also very important.
You gotta take care of that. You gotta care about the optics. Some people are devil may care, and I learned that the hard way. Before I was like, fuck, like I don't care. I'm gonna speak my shit out on Facebook, and I'm gonna rant. Hindsight 2020. I was like, dude, I was a fucking idiot. What are you doing? You just killing yourself out there too. Everybody has problems, but you don't have to rant like a fucking kid.
Yeah. So I will type out rants.
Yep.
Right? But then I think about, I always take a breath before I act. I'm rarely angry. But when I am...
You don't press the send button.
I don't press the send button.
Yeah. That's a big skill to do. Because people are too quick to pull that trigger all the time.
Yeah.
And then that's where fights happen, bickering, keyboard warrior shit, and all that.
And you gotta do it face to face.
Yeah.
You gotta do it face to face. So I'm from Halo. I mean, I'm not like born and bred.
Yeah.
But I visit enough. And then I was in Hula once in my grandparents' house, and I heard gunshots. And I was like, hey, what's going on there? And then the person I was chatting with was like, oh, may nag-discuss ba? And then I'm like, basically that's, oh, there's a discussion happening. I'm like, what? And it's like, basically we're having a talk that results in conflict, which results in gunfire.
Wow.
So if you talk to a lot of Muslims in the Philippines,
and this is gold, by the way. I want to know so much about this because this is among Filipinos, the Muslim population is the most judged all the time, and knowing people like you just removes that stigma that
makes you judge them in a completely different way.
It's not, dude. It's all about peace. Islam is all about peace, right?
Yeah. Who said that? Will Smith?
No, but you know, salam alaikum.
It's true. It is.
You know, I want to shed light into this.
So the scariest ones are the most soft-spoken, all right? Because imagine a place where everybody has a gun. So you're not going to be like, what's up, man? Right? You're going to be like, hey, Ron, how are you doing?
Oh, shit.
You don't want because you don't want anyone to get the wrong idea.
Absolutely.
Wait, how did we get here?
We were talking about Islam. And then you having a conversation or a discussion.
So you gotta be able to be chill.
Absolutely.
All right. So how do I manage
your time?
My time. So everything has kind of shifted. So my midlife crisis was saying yes to all of these businesses, right? I've reversed. Like the VR thing has been growing 2.5x every year. I'm just like, let's focus on this. But it's been a crazy 4 years in VR. Did massive growth in B2C year one. So our team was lean.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to do like a BPO.
No, it's hard to manage a lot of people unless it's necessary.
Yeah. And I like having a lean team.
Yep.
Which was geared towards B2C distribution.
I'm Cardboard, was
it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got our partners have Joseph. It handles manufacturing in China. I mean, this guy rocks.
Yeah.
Year two, it was like 50% enterprise, 50% B2C.
So it changes drastically.
So your sales pitch, everything changes.
Yep.
Now, fast forward to today, we are 90% B2B, and the mix is like 50% education, like training, HR, and 50% marketing and advertising and stuff like that. So if it was a normal company and I did not have all of those crazy experiences
before, nothing can prepare you for it.
We would have closed.
Yeah.
But it's almost the same people since day one.
Yeah.
But also if we hadn't been lean and like navigated the coral reefs and all the...
You would have fallen through the cracks.
So that's what's been keeping me busy.
Wow.
Virtual reality training.
And how about the other stuff? How do you spend time with that? Like, the right PH is there. There's OtterBox in the side. And then you do the Shenzhen thing that I have no idea how you got to that thing that you do every once in a while. Like, again, goes back to your geeky nature.
So, it's context shifting. That's the most difficult thing, right? So, if you want to focus on something, you have to create zones of focus. If you're a developer, and I'm asking you to develop like this thing, and then 3 hours later, I'm asking you to work on another part, that you're ruining the groove, you're ruining the rhythm, you're ruining everything. So it's about creating buckets of time. For me, I can break up like Mondays, that's VR, I am cardboard day. Tuesdays, that's where I have SME solutions, SARI, anything to do with ERPs.
So you have that routine, and you reserve that for X amount.
Yeah.
And you mentioned even Sundays is like your busiest.
It's true. So it also helps. Actually, forget everything else I said. It also helps that we have no kids.
Okay. That's a good decision to have, especially.
Yeah. I think I would change completely if I had kids.
Absolutely. True.
I would not be
as much of a risk taker as you are now.
Yeah. Because we're dinks. We're dual income, no kids.
Yeah.
And my overhead is like I was telling you.
I didn't know about that acronym before. DINKS. Dual income, no kids.
Yeah.
DINKS. Wow. I like that word.
Yeah. And you have a lot of freedom. And I know that. I mean,
is that
I
a
can
choice that you guys like decided, or?
Yeah. My parents are big on planning, right?
Yeah.
So, honestly, I don't feel that I could, like, I mean, like, I'm ready. Like, I would just get irritated with my kids for breaking, for breaking my toys. Like, I know I'm 40, but I still feel really immature.
Sure.
Like I would ruin the lives of these little people, right? Yeah. So I like being the tito.
Okay. Same.
So yeah, no kids, and my overhead is 25 grand a month.
Wow.
Right? I could live off 25 grand a month.
Wow.
So so that those two factors, and the fact that I probably, if everything turns to shit.
Yeah.
If everything fucks up.
Yeah. Like a mighty clusterfuck.
Yeah. If I go viral for some stupid reason, and everybody's like, oh, I don't want anything to do with Ibba.
Bye, your reputation gone.
I can always go home.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm lucky. I'm, again, #blessed.
Yep.
Aside from dual income, no kids, I'm really lucky that I don't have to worry about supporting anybody else but myself and my wife. Oh, well, my wife makes income, so myself. So I'm lucky that I can be selfish.
Yeah.
And take these risks. Not many people
have that
privilege. Honestly, if I had to worry about supporting and taking care of people, I would probably just stick to one path, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe two paths. The more secure path.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the time I wake up and I'm like, holy shit, what am I doing today?
Yeah. And that's exciting too.
It is. I love it. I love it. I love my life. I love creating. It allows me to think about customer success and quality more than it does margins.
Absolutely. And adding real value.
Yeah.
Because in a different scenario where, you got to provide, the main metric is not value right away. It's always like, all right, I got to pay shit tomorrow. I got to make X amount because... and there's some tough decisions you need to make, even if you have good values.
And I'm also tired of the bullshit, right? I can't do a board meeting anymore when I'm talking about these fucking numbers, right? And I know it's bullshit. So which is why everything I'm also lucky that everything that we're doing now
is in line with what you like.
It's also self-funded.
Wow.
Right? Almost. Because it allows us to be a lot more nimble and cuts out the bullshit.
True.
So bullshit is an efficiency drain. True. Politics is an efficiency drain.
I totally agree, because the more people you have in the boat, the more shit you gotta fuck up with, right? And I totally agree. But again, it's a case-to-case scenario. But dude, it's been great having you on the show. Thank you very much. But before we let you go, why don't you invite people over to check out your main hustle and then stuff that you guys do and whatnot?
So drop by the Ayala Museum. We've created a time machine that takes you back in time and lets you experience what our national heroes experienced. If you are anywhere else around the world, check out iamcardboard.com. We create VR headsets, and if you are walking distance from here, swing by Podium, drop by our Bang & Olufsen store.
There you go. All right, and again, check out OtterBox. If you see that OtterBox, you got to think of Ibba. There you go. Again, thank you, Ibba, for going to this episode, and welcome again to Hustleshare. And I'll check you guys out in the next episode. Peace.